if we move forward, we'll issue bonds concurrently with a bond refinancing of the 2012 general obligation bonds that were issued, water plant improvements, and a couple other things in town. We can still, given the bond market currently, we can still save interest rates on that.
Any questions?
When we first discussed this, Roger, for this grant, I thought we only discussed Moulton Street. We didn't discuss all this other infrastructure that you wanna put in. That park's been there 21 years.
Yeah.
We have collected sales tax, it's 3/4% for 21 years, and that's all we have up there.
Yeah, Ruth, I can't change what was done in the past and where we're at. I gotta look forward to how do we make this a usable asset? And ultimately, it's your decision as council, the same as all of the decisions of the past for council, okay? If the desire is that we do not apply for a grant, just let me know tonight.
I think the Molson Street discussion had to do with Family Dollar comes in there, we would construct a portion, just a portion of that street, so they would have a second access for their trucks.
And that was my understanding why we would apply for this grant in February, was just for that street.
No. It's for all of their
Well, I
infrastructure.
know it is now.
Yeah. I don't recall that conversation, I don't recall it saying, we're just gonna do a grant to do 200 feet of the street.
The initial conversation was back to the back of lot, 285 feet. We got the opinion of probably cost. Then when we got into it, what council passed was we were simply going to do the 102 or 108. I'm sorry, I don't have that plan in front of me, because we didn't wanna build extra roadway that would just have vehicles parked in the park until we can build the Moulton and industrial to create that secondary road through the industrial park. It opens up the development area as we move forward, and then it should lessen some of the traffic that's experiencing on the Roosevelt around it.
And you think we'll pay for this out of the general fund? Is that true?
We'll probably use the sales tax.
The sales tax will be the
excess.
intended funding mechanism
Right.
for any bonds that we issue.
This isn't going to raise the mill levy on the citizens of Marion?
No,
No, good.
everything that we're trying to work towards is to fund this with grants and use the existing sales tax that's in place.
Right.
And that's what's been expressed to our bond council, and that's the way that they're working towards.
Anybody else? Number 16, industrial park signage discussion. Council Collins.
I had seen, a few weeks back, and then I was actually approached by, somebody about 2 weeks ago about the condition of our free lot signs up in the, both on the industrial park side and on the business park side. As Roger just mentioned, our industrial and business park, those signs have been up there for over 20 years, I think, and, they're looking pretty faded and tattered. One of them is missing a portion of the sign, and it's just my belief that, I think a lot of us probably drive by it and never even recognize that they're there, because we drive that road so often and don't even think twice about it. But for somebody who might be driving through and not be from around here, for that to be the, one of the things that they see, that doesn't give a very good representation of what Marion is to me. So, I am really open to discussion in terms of what we wanna do with them. I think talking with Roger, we do have a KDOT permit to have those signs there, and if we simply take the signs down, we lose that permit. Is that correct, Roger?
That is correct. We would have to reapply to erect another sign.
I was also asked, by somebody if the city would be open to using those for advertisements for businesses within the city. And I think would potentially be an option as well. Is that
Yes, it
accurate?
would be similar to the program that's in the Wassup days Incorporated runs with the Walton sign.
So I just wanted to bring it up and have a discussion about it and see, what you guys thought on it.
Well, personally, I'd kinda like to keep them, I mean, not these.
Right.
I'd like to upgrade them. I think it's we have a lot of traffic there on 56 highway.
Yeah.
And need somebody to come and talk to us.
What happened in 22 years?
Well,
I'm for taking them down or renting them out to whoever wants to advertise on them.
is our permit specific for free lot signs?
No, it is not. That just permits the structure, location,
Yeah,
marketing and material content is not controlled by them.
Is this something that we could rent, Roger, like they do at Walton? Or like Jingle
Yes,
All
if
Day?
that's council's desire, we can put together a program and then, no details yet. Zach just had spoken with me this morning. We would basically have a contract, they would have to pay for their art and they would have to pay for the installation. Most billboards like that utilize vinyl wraps now if they're not a permanent type installation.
I mean, what if we would split them, cause there's one on either side of the road, what if we look at doing advertising, letting businesses advertise on them on one side of the road, and I don't think, free lots, I'm not sure that we need to, maybe keep that verbiage, but do something in terms of trying to get, drive people to, to us on the other side, right? And whether that's either side of the highway or either side of the sign.
Which side of the highway is this one that's damaged?
I think the damaged one's on the south side of the highway.
Correct, it's on the industrial park side. The panel has been located, you guys can't get in there with a bucket truck right now, it's too soft to put it back up.
Jerry, are you hearing what we're talking about with the signs that they?
I think I do, David, Mayor.
I'd like to hear your comments on it.
Well, it's hard for me to follow everything, I just try to look at my material as you guys are talking.
Yeah.
You're talking about the signs, right?
Yep, free lot
Signs.
signs.
And I don't know which one to go for, really. I wish I was there to hear everything, but I couldn't hear everything, David.
Yeah. Why don't we,
I mean, do we wanna table it until
well,
Jerry's
I'm
here
kinda
and then
thinking about,
Chris is
yeah,
here?
and Chris, I'd like to hear what he has to say about it, and maybe put together some different proposals on. Is that agreeable?
I move that we table it until a
Okay.
later date.
All right.
Want to take a vote on it?
I don't think, it's not an action item actually right now on the agenda. Says
It was a
discussion.
discussion, it
Yeah.
wasn't
Okay.
Right. We'll table it until the next meeting. Number 17, resolution 22-06, creation of general commercial section in lots and plot industrial park. Roger?
Okay, this is back to what council expressed a desire December 13th, that they would like to see the industrial park, set up with specific general commercial area. If you refer to the map that was in with the public hearing, the action this evening, the orange area, which is the east side of section 2, will remain as it's zoned today, which is light industrial. All of those lots currently are adjacent to just the field, on Ms. Bot's land that's being currently agricultural use. The proposal would be In the front, lot 1, lot 3, and then that 60-foot section of 4 would become general commercial. And then the corner that is Ellison and Roosevelt, excluding Reserve B. There's nothing changes there, it doesn't make it where it's a buildable lot, any of that type stuff would be then made into the general commercial use. The white lots on here are either existing businesses or under contract expected to close within the month of March, okay? But, you know, the two on the north section, lot 2 is already general commercial. Lot 4 and 5 are general commercial application. 6, I'm not sure where we're at on the conditional use on the.
They didn't need it.
They didn't need it?
They
Okay,
qualify.
So that one stays, the 2 storage lots would be 6 and 7 in block 1. The spec building, which has become the Airstream guys building, 56, and then Orsted would be lot 2 and around. Okay. So if it's council's desire, the resolution is drafted to basically start that change.
Before we discuss this, I'd like to go ahead and move to approve resolution 22-06. And then have our discussion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved, seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Discussion,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, discussion. Gary, you got anything you wanna say?
What?
This is in
What's that?
regards to
What-
rezoning, Bond Industrial Park.
Okay, only question I have, did the zoning committee approve that? That's the only thing I have to ask.
They, as I understand, they took no action. They had 2 meetings and they took no action in both meetings.
Oh. I see.
I mean, I was
Okay, so
one of
I
the,
guess I vote aye then.
Well, we're not voting yet, Gary.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Alright,
I did attend, the meeting that we had last week between, the planning commission, our city attorney, and then, the mayor and I were there. And I really felt like that was a very, worthwhile meeting. I think a lot of questions and concerns were answered, on both sides.
I know.
And I mean, for me, in the past, there's been probably a communication breakdown, from both sides, both from us to them and from them to us. And I think coming out of that meeting, one of the biggest things I got, and one of the biggest talking points was opening those communication lines and making sure that we do have good communication between the two boards. And I said this Friday when we were in that meeting, and I'll say it again, I mean, ultimately, all of us that are sitting up here and everybody that's on that board is trying to do what they believe is best for the city. And I think after that meeting, we're all ready to put what's happened in the past behind us and open those communication lines and keep moving forward with what we believe will be the best for Marion 10, 20 years down the road. And making that progress together. And while we might not always agree on how we get there, we can agree that we're trying to do what we believe is best for the city.
You do realize that the zoning regulations were put into effect by ordinances, which makes it law,
Mhm.
and we need to follow them.
And we are.
And I'm not, no, we're not, you know, I'll point that out in a minute, but I'm for rezoning the commercial and the industrial park,
Mhm.
but not the way we're going at it. We're stripping these people at Marion of their due process, because we haven't given them a chance. We haven't notified them properly.
So do you think that our city attorney lied to us then when he told us that we're going about it the
Well,
right way?
that's pretty strong, isn't it?
Well, I agree.
Okay, let's just back up and read the quote from his bill that says, once the city elects to conduct community planning and zoning, it must follow procedures mandated by state statute. Now, do you believe that?
Yes,
That's what he said.
okay.
Okay, so he's honest. And then I have to bring to your attention that zoning, which is ordinance, 25-1-04, all proposed amendments to the zoning regulations or zoning changes shall first be submitted to the planning commission for recommendations and report. No amendment or change shall be made without a public hearing before the planning commission. And we haven't done that.
Right, but what about, within ours, where it says that inaction is a, and Mr. Stroh, maybe you can help me out here, that inaction is.
Shall be deemed to be no action, in
No
this case, 2/3 override.
Is a vote of.
Disapproval.
Thank you, disapproval.
Okay, let's go look at 25-5.04. It says all such rezoning applications shall be set down for a hearing not later than 60 days. Is the 60 days up since the city notified the planning commission?
You know, Ruth, I think that what we've been advised by our attorney comes from 12-757D. And that is, if there's no action taken, by the zoning board, then we can take action to, approve what we sent to them. I have a question for you. Are you
Okay.
against rezoning the park as?
No.
No, just a minute, let me finish. Rezoning, they came back with a recommendation of only 2 lots. You know, we voted 5-0 to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots.
And we never acted on it.
And they didn't act on it, and we sent that to them, so my question to you is, are you still in favor of rezoning the 6 lots?
I am in favor of rezoning, yes.
The 6 lots, all 6 lots, or only the 2 that they recommend?
Well, we didn't take action on the 2 that they recommended.
That's not my question. My question is, do you still, you voted 5-0 to rezone these lots as we sent to the planning commission? Planning and zoning. Do you still,
Recommend the recommendation.
I'm sorry.
I didn't vote to rezone the whole thing. I voted to send it to the planning commission for their recommendation.
No, I
And did they make us a recommendation?
They have 60 days. They have to have a public hearing.
No, well, I'm not talking about that. We had a map in front of us the night we voted 5-0 to send this to the zoning and planning. We marked the lots on there of what we wanted rezoned. Are you saying now you're not in favor of rezoning the lots as we sent them to the planning and zoning?
What I'm saying, Dave, is I'd like to follow procedure and do it right. There needs to be a public hearing, everybody needs to be.
I'm just
notified.
asking, have you changed your mind about how to
No, I
rezoning
haven't.
those lots?
But I didn't agree to it at the time. All I agreed to was to send it to the planning and zoning for review.
Mr. Strella, is it your belief that we're following proper procedures and regulations in rezoning these lots?
That's correct, and this is something that, I have discussed with Mr. Vina at length, as well as, he has, researched in great detail, discussed in general terms with other attorneys who have other municipalities, and the consensus that we have all come to is that this falls pretty squarely under 12-757D, and, for that reason, we would recommend that statutory procedure is available. And it would be appropriate if council chose to use that. Now, whether council wants to, another discussion, but in terms of whether they can, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have one more action, question, action taken. This petition that's before us, what are we gonna do with that?
I don't know what bearing that petition has on this tonight. It only applies, the zoning only applies to people who live within 200 feet of the industrial park lots that we're talking about.
And these people that signed this petition do live within 200 feet.
No, they don't.
You have to remove all the right of ways, all the roads and everything else in order to make it. And that's stated in.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call for the question, Jerry, are you familiar with what we're saying here?
Not really. We talking about zoning?
Yeah, our attorney's advising that we can take action to approve resolution 22-06, which allows us to rezone the industrial park.
Oh, okay.
And it's because of the inaction of the planning and zoning board.
And what I'm saying, Jerry, that is the procedure has not been followed. The zoning board was not given a chance to look at this.
Well, I call for the question. All those in favor of approving resolution 22-06 signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye, aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries, 2/3 majority.
Okay, since we,
Number 18, resolution 22-07, authorizing water and sewer infrastructure improvements. Roger, I get you. We don't
I
have
apologize,
anybody here.
I don't know where,
2207. 2207.
Yeah, we're on number 18, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm with you, I got you.
Okay.
okay. Part of the base grant, when first off, the base grant was made available February 1st with a deadline of the 28th. We didn't hold, or the state held the webinar for what would qualify, what would not qualify on the, I believe it was the 4th. Darren participated in that call as well. At that time, it came to light that a project of this nature for an existing business economic development effort could do the infrastructure to create access to the area. So this is what gives us the ability to put in molten industrial and industrial circle, because that will give us the access. As part of the grant, they're also authorizing infrastructure improvement necessary to make the lots what they call shovel ready. Or really a developer can just come in, get going on it, okay? So tonight, in order to apply for the grant, we have to say what is the scope that the grant's going to entail. And then with that scope, also, how are we going to come up with the match funds for it? Okay, our matching funds, the intent will be that we utilize the existing economic development, the 3/4% sales tax. That's what will be utilized to pay these bonds as we move forward. By declaring our intent to issue the bonds, then that allows us to submit the application for the grant by the 28th, indicating that, yes, we got the mechanism in place. This is what we're gonna utilize the grant funds for. That's to build out water and sewer, and then the roadways to all of the lots in the industrial park. So we now can market all the rest of the property that has been paid for by the sales tax dollars over time. 2207 declares our intent to create the water supply and the sewer for this. And behind the resolution this evening, it's actually the drawing of the engineer's opinion of probable cost, showing what we're doing is extending from all of the infrastructure that's already in place to the north portion, sections 1 and 2, and bringing that down so we can get, 1 and 3, I think. So we have the services into 2. So that makes the 5 lots that will remain light industrial, plus the 3 additional, that are being rezoned to general commercial. So 2207 says what our intent is to do on this, the project financing, the costs we're saying it's intent, 176,250. Tonight, we're not voting to issue bonds, there's many more steps that have to occur before we get that. But this is one of the steps that has to occur so we can submit our grant application and hopefully be awarded the nearly $750,000 to help us develop our industrial park.
Okay.
And this resolution was created by our bond counsel, which is Gilmore Bell. It has been reviewed by your city attorney and her attorney as well.
Okay. And I would move to approve resolution 22-07, authorizing water and sewer infrastructure improvements and providing for the payment of the cost thereof. Is there a second?
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
How much money was that, Mayor?
It's 176,250.
Okay, and that's, I got the I'm just sitting here looking at the map, that does not go to Kellison then, right? That's what we're looking at.
It makes an connection near where we put the sewer system in for the Coble Street Housing Addition.
Yeah,
Okay, because it's not, it has to continue to run south,
oh,
okay? But the tie-in,
it's not through Roosevelt then?
it's not through Roosevelt.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye, I did, I'm Mayor, aye.
Motion carried 4-0. Next we have ordinance 1486, designating certain streets as main traffic ways and connections.
Okay,
Towards Anderson, Foster. Line off next, front.
this action is an ordinance of the city council. It's designating these are traffic ways needed and necessary in our community, okay? Roosevelt's the existing roadway, but this allows us, and I guess the question's been, is it all of Roosevelt? No, Roosevelt to the point where it turns onto industrial, that's already been designated, as well as all the way south to city limits. We have to have Roosevelt designated in that area and including going north, but we cannot connect with 256 because of the stipulations of KDOT access to the state highway.